Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. If you looked at our recent videos, you'll know that we came back from Panglao, and I wanted to give you guys who probably will visit Bohol via Panglao, because that's the popular tourist area, and I wanted to this may seem like very unlikely advice, but I'd advise you to be off the streets by when the fall of darkness happens, because if you're actually doing what we did and looking for somewhere to stay, you could be in trouble. We had a GPS, right? We had a GPS, good lighting in the car, of course, so we can see where we're going. But we were looking for a particular resort that had a particular tourist feature. Okay, so we knew the name, we knew the location. Well, we didn't know the location, we knew of the location. It was on our GPS. Now, what you cannot allow for when you're in Panglao and on Bohol in general is that there are no street lights, so things really are in darkness. And at that time of the night, there's not too many people on the road. As for people to ask, okay, there is plenty of traffic, and a lot of that traffic is what I've tried to warn people about before. Anybody who has experience, especially riding or driving in the province, which is what everybody would call Bohol, they'll know that the Filipino motorcyclists have a very peculiar way of looking at the idea of lighting, and will actually drive along in darkness. Don't ask me how they can do this, I'll never know. There's a certain amount of lighting that they take advantage of from other motorists, cars coming the other way, and they've perfected a way of driving which, while it's not very safe, they still manage to do it. And they only switch their light on. This sounds like, you can't make this stuff up, you know. They switch their light on when they want to ask someone to dim their lights. It's a kind of a Twilight Zone situation. Now, why would we end up being lost? Well, we were lost for a considerable amount of time. Just reprogramming the GPS telling us again, well, you turn right in 300 meters, and we would look for a road, but with no lights in the area, and very badly made up roads. You end up passing the road. I'm saying to Beth, was that the road? And she'll say, no, I don't think so. So we're still looking for the road. And you end up doing that. Well, laughing at ourselves here, but we passed, there's a Chinese restaurant, a large Chinese restaurant, very fancy looking place that's near to the airport in Panglao. We went round and round, several miles around, and ended up passing this thing 4 times. Well, we got to a point where we said, that's it, we're looking for the wrong place. First of all, I've got to tell you that we actually did find the one that we were looking for. So we arrived there, and it's in what I can only describe as a side road. No lights. There are houses there with some limited lights there so that you can see the house. And we arrive at this closed gate. And it's a solid gate as well. It's not a see-through gate. All right, so we arrive there and we sit outside. Well, is there any way that we can tell them we're here? No, there wasn't. So, as luck would have it, a lady came to the gate, opened the gate a fraction, and came through and spoke to us. So what's the deal? And we make sure this is the right place. Is this the right place? Yes, this is the right place. And I suggest it didn't look that fancy to me. Not that it has to be fancy for us, but you expect it to be nice. And it's already dark. We don't want to pull into this place and then find that it's not what they say it is. So I said to Beth, why don't you ask to see the room? And Beth is on the point of getting out of the truck, and she says, how much is the room? 2,500. Now 2,500 is not a terrific, not a hefty price for being in Panglao and on the beach, but if you can't see anything and they don't even have a way of ringing a bell or something, it seems like the place might be poorly managed. So I said, well, you'll have to have a look at the room and let's see where we stand. But first of all, why don't you ask if that includes breakfast, which would be reasonable, I think. So she asked the lady, no, it doesn't include breakfast. It's 3,500 if you have breakfast. It didn't take me long, about 10 seconds or 5 or 3 or instantaneous to say no thanks, let's go. So we resume our Lost in Space situation back on the GPS, which keeps telling us to turn left or turn right at roads that we can't see, and we end up, I said, I can't do this. It's been going on too long. We don't even know where we are. So I had a feeling that the road that we needed to be on was one that we'd passed. We did actually come within a very short distance of Tagbilaran again, but we were determined to find this particular resort. Well, we thought we can get back to there, so we started out on the road that I thought would take us there. As it happened, it didn't, and later we discovered that it was a dead end anyway. All a good adventure, but eventually we said, right, we are turning in the next resort no matter what. Well, the next resort turned out to be horrendously expensive, but we pulled in and it was clearly a very fancy place. I said to Beth, why don't you go and find out how much it is? So she said, I don't care how much it is, we're staying. So she goes out, and when she comes back, she says, I said, how much? And she said, don't ask me. So I didn't. And we went in. The resort was absolutely beautiful. It was 5-star, the Bellevue Resort. Just everything you could possibly ask for, and expensive. So we stayed. We enjoyed ourselves very, very much. Beautiful breakfast, nice buffet, and we had dinner the night before, which wasn't terrifically expensive considering that it was a 5-star hotel. You could have almost anything on the menu, gourmet cooking. They were very proud of their chef and his creations. We didn't go for the creations, but we had very nice food, ready to go to bed, which by that time must have been about 9 o'clock. Anyway, that's our adventure for there, and why we ended up paying a lot of money for a resort. We actually said if ever we get a lot of money again, not that we had a lot of money because we weren't expecting that, but anyway, we said it was so beautiful we would love to go back. Finances available. So that was our Panglao, Lost in Panglao adventure. Thanks for being with us. Make sure that if you go to Panglao and you've rented a car, make sure that you know where you're going and get there at least booked in before it gets dark. Now, not being on the road in the Philippines, certainly in the province, not being on the road after dark is the most sensible survival advice that you will get. Don't do it. We ended up not only in the dark, but it was raining as well. It was a nightmare, and we've been to Panglao a few times, but in the dark it's a totally different place. So thanks for looking in. Don't forget what I said, and bye for now.